everyone, and welcome to the David Goodman's Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert, and of course, I am the host of this show. I have the honor of carrying on David Goodman's legacy, which is, he started this platform to keep the community informed with everything that's going on, from politics to free information. So what I am, my passion is information. I am always giving out information on, especially my job. I'm a licensed insurance agent, and there are just so many aspects to that. So today I'm going to be talking about, first I want to welcome you to my house. Isn't that beautiful? No, I'm only kidding. That's not my house. I wish I lived in a mansion like that. But today I want to talk a little bit about legal service, having access to legal service, how important it is, and how it's helped me throughout my life. I've had a legal service for about 20 years. And this legal service, it doesn't, it's free information. If you need the information on this, please give me a call at the number on the screen. The first thing I talk about, let me back up for a minute. The reason I got into being able to provide people and give people information on this legal service is because of my insurance job. What I do is a confidential needs analysis. This is how I help people. I ask them questions in the 4 areas that will affect their lives the most, and I have other questions as well. So, one of the questions on my confidential needs analysis is, do you have a will or a trust? And I want to say 8 out of 10 times, or maybe 9 out of 10 times, the answer to that question is always no. But normally they say, well, I have to do that. I've been meaning to do that. And, life got in the way, or procrastination, or just whatever. Long story short, they did not have a will. And then I would refer them to someone to at least put something in place to set up a will. And wills are expensive. I mean, let's face it. If you go to a lawyer and say, I want to do a will, it's going to cost you, a pretty penny, and everybody doesn't have that. So that's one reason another reason why a lot of people don't have a will. So anyway, once I refer them and then I come back and do my follow-up appointment, they haven't gotten it done yet. So I am able to set you up with a legal service. I'm able to give you all the information you need on how to protect yourself. And in the inner city, a lot of us get into trouble, or the trouble snowballs into something a lot bigger than what it should be, because we don't have information, we don't have access to basic legal questions. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I got this service way back in, my kid was in, I think he was in middle school, because I used it for that. So what happened, my son was in a middle school in New Haven, Connecticut, that did not have an in-school suspension plan or program in their school. So he's in, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, that's middle school. So he gets into a fight or scuffle or whatever it is he did wrong, and they suspended him for 3 days. And so I'm like, wait a minute, my son is sitting at home for 3 days, all the other kids are in school, learning new algebra or learning whatever, and in the meantime, he's falling behind. What can I do about that? So I called, knowing that the school didn't have an in-school suspension plan, I called my legal service and I told them about this. And I told them I didn't want my son staying home because, he was falling behind in school. The school didn't have an in-school suspension plan and all the details. So what they did, they will write a letter on your behalf. They will review up to 15 documents if you fax, email, or mail, or drop them off. So what they did, they wrote the school a letter, okay? And to help me out. So in the interim, I found out that my legal service is a law firm. It's not just a lawyer that helps me. It's a law firm, is the exact same law firm that the New Haven Board of Education has. So it created a conflict. I couldn't use my law firm. They had to refer me out to a different lawyer because we're both clients, long story short. We're both clients. So what happened was they wrote the letter and said, whatever they said, I didn't want my kids, staying home. If he does something wrong, they had my permission to punish him for, he could, I don't care, wash the floors, clean the bathrooms, humiliate him in any way that you want, but do not send him home, and make sure he's getting all of his schoolwork in. And that was my main point. So they wrote a letter, and they never suspended my son again. And believe me, this kid probably should have been suspended because I had to punish him so much. He was a daredevil. He did things all the time. He was always getting in trouble. He was very mischief, and just that's the way it was with him. So anyway, long story short, this service helped me keep my son in school. And if I had not had this service, I would have just had to deal with him being suspended and sent home, I don't know how many times, which he could have fell behind in his classes and ended up staying back in school. And a lot of us have that problem in the inner city. And there's, I had to work full time. I wasn't there to monitor him to make sure he get his work done. There was no online classes that he could do. There was none of that. He was just staying at home, playing video games while, the rest of his class was moving ahead. So I use this legal service for that. Okay, now let's fast forward to the same kid who I kept in school. Now he's in college. He's in Massachusetts. I still have the same legal service, and he has a car. I bought him a car for his 18th birthday because I knew he was going to college. I was really happy and all of that stuff. So, of course, he got a speeding ticket when he was in college. So the same kid, well, actually they both did. So anyway, the law firm that represents this particular service in the state of Connecticut also partnership with other lawyers in other states. Excuse me. So he was in school in Massachusetts. Oh my, I'm so sorry. He was in school in Massachusetts, and he got a speeding ticket. And so what happened was, I called up my legal service and gave them all the information from the ticket. And what they did, they had a lawyer that they partner with. I'm going to cough again. I forgot my water. So anyway, they called up the law firm, and they partnered with the other lawyer, and they went to court with my son and got him off. So you get one forgiveness. I hope we can edit all this coughing out. I know we can't because this is live TV, but you get one forgiveness for every person that has the service. So for me and all of my dependents, if we get caught speeding, and I use it for myself, I got caught speeding coming back from Virginia. If we get caught speeding, we could deny the charges. They'll send a lawyer to court with you. And for that one time, you'll have to print out your driving record. I am choking on something. I need some water. Excuse me. So, this is downright embarrassing. I don't know what's happening. I'm choking on something. Anyway, they sent the lawyer to go to court with them. All I had to pay was like $45 court fees, and there were no points against my license, so I used it for that. I also used it for credit. When I was young and I had my own apartment and I had just got a job, and I got every credit card from every company that allowed me to open a credit card. And I opened all these credit cards, and what happened, I was upside down. I created all these bills that I could not pay. I just could not pay all of these bills. And so what happened, I just let them, go. I just let them go and become really, thank you. Thank you, Francisco. He got me water. I really need it. Excuse me. So much for reality TV. Anyway, so I created all these bills that I couldn't pay. I was like 20, 21, like a lot of us do. And then I just let them all go. They were all past due. I was getting, credit collectors were calling, bill collectors were calling me. And, at some point, I just didn't pay them and they went away. So they didn't call me anymore. So then let's fast forward, 10 or 15 years. I got a better job. Me and my husband bought a house. And I guess, my credit started going up. So these companies started coming after me again. This was many years later, started coming after me again. And here I am struggling. Even, we bought the new house. We had the mortgage. We had the kid. And, things were really moving along. But I really didn't have a lot of money. It seemed like I had a lot of money because I bought a house and a car, but we didn't. Long story short, what happened was they all came after me again. I was struggling trying to pay them, and it got to the point where I was just so stressed out. I was under financial duress, and I couldn't sleep. And I picked up the phone and I called my legal service. And you know what they did? They wrote a letter to each one of those creditors. I stopped getting calls. I didn't have to pay anything. It wasn't on my credit record. On my credit record. It didn't affect my credit score or anything, because what they told me was that in the state of Connecticut at this time, I'm not sure what the law is now, full disclaimer, but at that time, if I had consumer debt that was more than 6 years old, those companies had written it off and I didn't have to pay them. And it all just went away. So it's just so crucial to know the law and to have access to legal service. That was some of the things that I used it for. I also used it in a discrimination case. I did my full rebuttal. So when I did my discrimination case, I'll tell you about that. It was with a job that I worked for 20 years, and it was just taken away and given to someone else. So that's a whole nother story. However, I filed a discrimination case, and they didn't send a lawyer with me to do that because, the service doesn't provide that. It provides a service only if you want it. It would be additional. But I did my complete rebuttal, as long as you know how to read and write, and they will explain every single aspect of the law to you. And I was able to email them up to 15 pages. I was able to defend myself in that case with their help. So, had it not been for that, I would have never gotten that far. And then I was winning my case. I was winning against my boss that, discriminated against me until he came in with a lawyer and 2 signed affidavits from 2 liars that said, he never discriminated against him. So I lost. But my point is, and it was just money, so I'm not worried about that. Money I didn't have. I didn't have to pay anything for it. But this legal service can help you with so many different things. And so I'm just going to read off a couple things that they will do. Personal document reviews of affidavits, deeds, demand letters, mortgages, notes, leases, contracts. Contracts could be anything, like a life insurance contract, or any type of business contract you may have. They will review up to 15 pages, okay? They also provide trial defense, but that's extra. let's see here, uncontested adoption, all types of adoption, child custody, child support, conservatorship, domestic violence, protection from domestic violence, juvenile court, name changes. There's just, prenuptial agreements, divorces, separations, elder law matters, immigration matters. Oh my goodness. The list just goes on and on. So, moving traffic violations, well, I'm a victim of that. Accidents, property damage, healthcare, power of attorneys, living wills, trusts. I mean, it's a complete law firm that represents the entire state of Connecticut. And if you need this service, they are there for you. And the way it works, here's another thing: small claims assistance. I had a civil lawsuits, IRS audits. I mean, I know a lot of us might need that. Identity theft defense, post-judgment matters, foreclosures, tenant rental issues, property taxes. Let's see what else they have here. Zoning applications. I don't really know that much about zoning, so I should call them. Preferred member, and there's like preferred member discounts. There's 24/7 emergency access. So you have a complete service here. The thing is, what you have to remember is that it's a service over the phone. So the way it works is something would happen. Let's just say you hit a bump in the road, okay, and it blows out your tire and messes up your rim. That's a reason to call them, because you don't know what to do except for go buy a new tire for the time being. But if you call your legal service, they will be able to tell you what the law is regarding the hole in the street that you hit and it blew up your tire. They will tell you if the city of whatever city you're in is responsible for that, and you could be compensated or not, but they will give you the law. So all you would do is call them up. There's an 800 number. You would give them your member ID number, and you'll be talking to an administrator, and she'll just ask for a little snippet of what the issue is about. So you said, I blew out my tire on the street in the city of whatever. And so what they'll do is they'll have a lawyer call you back that specializes in that particular field in about 4 hours. So the minimum is 4 hours. They might call you back before then, but they have to say 4 hours just in case they're in court or what have you. So a lawyer will call you back in 4 hours and go over whatever your issue is in great detail and tell you what the law is, and that will protect you. At least you will know. So that's just key that we have access to that. And a lot, like I said before, a lot of people get in trouble because we don't know the law. And I know I don't know the law. I probably would have still been paying those credit card companies back. If I didn't have this service to call my child, maybe if he had gotten suspended enough in this public school, he could have stayed back a grade. It's possible that he never even made it to college, because you don't know how these adverse things will affect you. So it's better to, cut it in the bud, snip it in the bud is what I want to say anyway. So also, with this service, you also get, now here's the surprise, here's the reward, I should say, you get a free will. So if you were interested in a service and you wanted to have this service, access to legal service, you would get a free will. And they would give you like a will questionnaire. So most people don't even know how to fill out a will or what to put on it or what have you. So they give you a questionnaire. It's kind of like a template to prompt you with questions on how to fill out a will, how to fill out your questionnaire, how to set up a will. So they ask you things, personal things, of course, your name, your membership number, address, date of birth, and then it goes through your family. Who do you want to leave what to? You don't have to itemize every little thing. Say, for example, I have 2 kids, and I put both my kids' name down, Joe and Johnny, and I have 2 houses, and I want the assets split 50-50. One kid would get one house, one kid would get the other house. You don't have to put detailed information like how much the houses are worth or how much your 401ks are, or you don't have to put a dollar value to all of your assets. You would do something like that maybe in a trust. But for this, they would just need to know how you want the assets split, if you want them split 50-50, 70-30, 60-40, or what have you, and who gets what. So that's another thing. And then if they're step kids, they separate, because a lot of people get married and have like a little Brady Bunch thing going on. When you get married, she have some kids, he have some kids. So they have questions about your step kids, your spouses, just things like that, and kind of tell you how to fill it out. And then along with the will, along with this will, you also get a free healthcare power of attorney letter. So if you fill out the will and you request it at the same time, you get the free power of attorney. Basically what that is a medical power of attorney. So that decides if you're unable to act on your behalf and you're certified by a doctor, you can appoint a person, now for who you want to answer questions regarding your medical well-being. And so that's key. And medical power of attorney, I didn't realize how important that was. I had a client, and they were in their late 80s, and the wife was very ill. She had Parkinson's, and she had some other things going on. She had a lot of chronic issues going on. And so she went to the doctor, of course. She went to her own doctor that she's been going to for years. The doctor actually had her sign a medical power of attorney, giving the doctor the power to make medical decisions for her. So let's fast forward. When I'm sitting down with this client, her husband, what that means is that her husband cannot make medical decisions for her, only her doctor. So that's how important that is. If you want your son or your daughter or your sister or brother making those decisions for you, that would be the time to put that on. And I know this information is not like the highlight of your day or anything, but it's such important information. And when you get this information and you get your will done, you're going to feel a sigh of relief. You're going to just exhale, because things are going to go according to the way that you want them to go when you pass on. It won't be like Prince, when he died, he had no will. Robin Williams, he had no will. So, their families kind of like fought over things, and I don't know, it kind of got crazy. And then if you're thinking also the way I used to think when I was approached to get a service, a legal service, I was like, no, I don't need a will, because I don't have anything. At that time, we didn't have anything. We had just bought the house. And we didn't have any assets. That was like 30 years ago. We had no assets, nothing to protect. And what they said to me is, and I'll tell you my reason why I got the will. He says, you have 2 children under the age of 18. What if you and your husband went to the movies and never came back? Who do you want to raise those kids? Those are the type of things you put in a will. So don't think you have to be like rich and have all these houses and hotels and money and boats and things like that. If you have children under 18, this is your why. And everybody has their why, especially if you have children under 18, because you're going to need it. They're going to get in trouble. I mean, this is not a perfect world. They're going to get in trouble. Things are going to happen. And you're going to be able to call up your legal service and ask them questions. What can I do in this situation? I mean, a lot of times, especially in the inner city, you hear about teenagers getting arrested and just, getting in fights and just all types of things before. And so if you don't have a lawyer, then they appoint a public defender. And, a public defender, no takeaway from them, but you don't know who they are. It isn't someone that you chose. You don't know what they specialize in. And you may want to get somebody that specializes in whatever your child or relative is being accused of, to represent them and at least get the information on what your options are if you have a legal service. So I know I had a brother that got in trouble all the time, and my mother was always just, crazy with worry because we had no access to legal service. We had to do whatever, they told us to do because we didn't know any better. And so that's where information is so important. If you have the information, you can take advantage of the benefits. If you don't have the information, then you're at the mercy of whomever or whatever situation that you're in. So I am just, whatever you do is entirely up to you. But what I'm saying, the information is free. You get the information. And with this service, you have access to legal service at any time, 24/7. You can call, leave your information. They'll call you back. You get a free will. You get a free medical power of attorney. And you have information, and you could recommend this for all of your family. You could use this for all of your family, your spouse, your kids. And the most important thing is that you have a will. And that's what I am all about. I give information on radio 1400.am about Medicare. I do free confidential needs analysis. I'll drive anywhere in your home, sit at your kitchen table and talk about Medicare, long-term care, life insurance, or retirement income. I roll over 401ks, and I do it all at no cost. So please, if you have a need for anything, don't go without not having the information. Get the information and then, go from there. So listen, that's our show for today. I want to thank you very much for joining me. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.